Calon Yarns podcast. My name is Lynn and I'm coming to you from Cardiff in Wales in the UK and what is a very blustery, rainy, sunny, windy day. So excuse the lighting if it comes and goes. The clouds are going past really quick this morning, so apologies. It is Saturday the 23rd of May and this is a knitting, crochet, sometimes spinning, sometimes dyeing, but always fibre-based podcast. If you are a new viewer, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for dropping by. I hope you enjoy what you see and I hope you'll come back soon. And if you are a returning viewer, as always, thank you very much for tuning in once more to see what I've been up to. And to everyone, I hope you are well. I hope you have your project bag and I can keep you some company on this Saturday morning. For me, it might be Sunday morning for you. Any morning. The good thing about YouTube is that we can tune in and tune out. So yes, welcome all. I really appreciate you spending some time with me. You can find me as Calon Yarns on all the social medias, and if you would, then please like and subscribe this channel so we can find some more chums. And you can also join me over on my Ravelry pages, Instagram pages, all that kind of thing. But anyway, the usual format of the show is finished objects. Yes, I have 1.5, would you believe? Works in progress, stash acquisitions, I do have a little bit of that, and some project plans today, and I'm hoping that you guys can kind of help me out and decide what I should do with some of the things I have bought. We shall see. Anyway, I've just realised that I don't have one thing to show you, but when we get there, I'll pop up and get that one. So yes, finished objects. Well, it's been a crazy couple of weeks really, work-wise, and last episode I got out my unfinished blanket projects and I had a little look of those. So I think my spur to finish stuff has been pushed forward by the fact that I really want to get back to some of those blanket patterns. Hooray! I know, I had 6 unfinished objects. So yes, if you want to see what they are, see my shame, Confessions of a Blanket Starter, then pop along to the last episode. But, so I've had a bit of a spur this week to get stuff done so that I can get back to projects that I didn't get done. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so finished objects are socks. My sock mojo has returned. For lots of different reasons, I think. New patterns, new yarns, that sort of thing, and also being quite small and easily portable projects. I tend to kind of leave them around the house at the moment. We are still in lockdown here in Wales. I think we've got 2 weeks left before we see what happens next. So it is always handy to have something dotted around the house to take one's mind off the present situation. So yes, finished objects, just a pair of vanilla socks. Ta-da! Yes, there are 2. They both have heels. I'm not tricking you in any way. Sometimes I kind of show them and pretend they've got heels and they haven't. These have. They are completely done. So this was out of... oh, I didn't bring the ball band down. Never mind. It is out of a K-Zip Knits sock yarn. It was a sock yarn that came with a project bag and some contrast yarn for heels and toes. Where is the contrast yarn for the heels and toes, you ask yourself? I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It was a lovely shade of a real greeny, yellowy colour, which would have gone perfectly. But it was only when I was doing the last heel, you know, the second heel, like I've done 10 socks, the last heel, that I remembered, oh, contrast heel and toes. Never mind. There is actually, it was 113 grams in the ball. So I've got enough to do another pair if I do use the contrast heels and toes. So I might cast on another pair, pretty sharpish, and try and use that contrast yarn. It was absolutely lovely. I don't know how, it just completely went out of my brain. But as always, for me, I used, it's a vanilla sock pattern, so 64 stitches, just stocking stitch all the way around. I always do a tube and then do an afterthought heel on the end. My usual, I use the Sock and Wonders, and my usual set, which is the 2.5, these are the Sock and Wonders, were attached to a different pair of socks, so I had to use my 2mm. So they were a little bit stiff actually. The fabric was a little bit stiff to start with, but I've blocked them. I blocked them yesterday, they're dried today, and they're a lot more flexible now. So that's not too bad. I'm happy that they kind of eased up a little bit because they did feel a little bit stiff. And that's the thing, they do the Sock and Wonders in the 2mm and the 2.5, but they do not do a 2.25. So I think a petition needs to be started to get them to do that. Yeah, I think that'd be easy, that'd be fine. But yes, very happy to have those. I'm not usually a yellowy kind of person. I say that, but they perfectly match. You see my leggings, they perfectly match my leggings today. So that's a lie right there, a yellowy greeny person. But hey, I'm sort of coordinated today. How bizarre is that? So yes, they are done. Hurrah, hurrah. I'm trying to get quite a few socks done over the summer, ready for the winter. I've shifted all my socks around. Isn't this like the most interesting thing? I've shifted all my socks around, so I now have a small drawer just for my hand knitted socks, and just opening that drawer every now and again and seeing them all in there. Ah, that does make me happy. How rock and roll am I? Anyway, so that's the plan, to do smaller projects over the summer months so that yes, I can, what was I going to say? Yes, I can wear them all in the autumn, ready in the autumn. I'm shifting my thought because I realise this is what I don't have to show you. So 1 second. This is what I was going to show you. So this is a sock pattern out of the 52 weeks of socks, and it is a pattern by Rachel Cuppa, and the pattern is called Canova. So I just want to show you the picture without giving anything away. So this is the socks, the Canova socks, a really lovely cabley pattern, and this is one I have done. So I had some coop knit sock yarn in my stash, the Socks Yeah brand, but I only had a 50-gram skein, so I split that skein into two and had two 50-gram skeins, obviously quick maths, and yes, so this is how far I got before I had to kind of go back to some other stash yarn. So it's lovely. You can see there's some slight sort of pinks in there. I'll write the yarn name down at the bottom there. So it's a lovely teal, but it's sort of got these little marley pink flashes in there, and then I just matched it up with a ball of blue sock yarn that I had left over from a previous pair of socks quite recently. The pattern comes down onto the foot, as you can see. It's not going to focus, yes it is, and it kind of carries all the way along the rest of the sock. But I have to say, I had enough of cabling by then. So I think I did 1.5 repeats and then went into the sort of the ribbed section, as you can see here, and it kind of carries on to the sock. And then in the pattern, the rib section even carries on into the toe decreases. But yeah, I wasn't going to do that. I just wanted to do my normal toe. So I cracked on with that, and it is a heel flap. I haven't done a heel flap for ages actually, so that was quite nice to kind of revisit that technique. I generally do an afterthought heel, so it was good to kind of go back to a reinforced heel flap. And I know that you can do cabling without a cable needle. I can't find it now. And I did try that, and you sort of pinch the stitches and swap them around. There's lots of really good YouTube videos on it, but oh my goodness, I just found it so fiddly. And it was really making it not enjoyable. You know, I had to like stick my tongue out and everything. That's how concentrated I had to be. So in the end, I just went back to my trusty old cable needle. I really like the hook ones. I have a few that were my mum's, I think, and they are the straight ones with the little V in the middle. They're generally metal, those ones. I think they're done by Pony. I'm pretty sure that's the brand that I had, but they just tend to kind of drop out, isn't it? Especially when they're on the back, they kind of go flat and then they just drop out. So these hook ones, if you haven't used them, I really like these. They're really easy to kind of just take those stitches off and just drop them down. You don't have to worry about it too much. So yeah, I went back to using a cable hook rather than the cable needle, the flatter ones, because you did use it a lot a lot on this. So I've got a little bit of second sock syndrome, if I'm honest, only because you really do have to keep your eye on the pattern. I did make a couple of mistakes somewhere. Oh, I can't find it now, so that's good, where I'd gone left leaning rather than right leaning. But I do like this really long rib here. I think I would use that again. So yeah, I need to cast on the second one pretty sharpish, otherwise I will lose momentum. You know what it's like, huh? And those lovely socks live in my gorgeous Hide and Hammer 02 bags, I think these are, and they've got a little bit of leather at the bottom and then a strong canvas at the top. Not sponsored, just really like it. I love the fact that it just sits anywhere. You know, it's not one of those floppy sock bags, pouches that kind of drop over. It can sit on the table, sit on the floor, and you know it's going to stay where it is. So yes, so there we have it, 1.5 finished objects, and I will have to cast on the second sock pretty sharpish before I lose momentum, as I say. Works in progress next then, really. So I am working on the Botanical Garden Sweater by Inga Semmingsen, and this is a lovely pattern. However, I have made a fatal error, I think. You can tell me now. So it is a top-down sweater. I'll put a picture here or there, I'm not sure which side, just so that you can see what it's supposed to look like, because it's quite difficult to see. The yoke is all kind of scrunched up. So this is what I have done so far. So can you see, I've used a gradient yarn. So let me just hold the top. This is a provisional cast on. You don't ordinarily do a provisional cast on, but I've done a provisional cast on just because I want to see how the neckline fits. So as you can see, there's some really beautiful, what's this kind of viney pattern at the top, and then it goes down, and then it heads into this glorious hummingbird pattern, and you can't quite see it very well because it's all scrunched up. But as I'm using a gradient yarn, can you see we've gone from this really light teal all the way down to a much darker section, and I've just finished the yoke, just divided for the sleeves. So yeah, I love the fact that it's got that gradient to it. But here is the fatal error. You have to go back to the arms and add this this last little pattern repeat here, this sort of ring pattern, onto the arms. Now of course, if I'm using a gradient, then one arm is going to be darker than the other arm. Yeah, I know, but I'm hoping that this is the yarn I'm using. I'm hoping that, can you see, the gradient isn't too harsh or quick. So I'm hoping that it won't be too obvious. I don't think, maybe I'll just have to walk around with my arms like this in the hope that nobody can see and go, that's darker than that one. We shall see, oh, it'll be all right. If it looks awful, then I'll just have to not do the ring pattern around the arms, but it just kind of finish it off nicely. I like it when a pattern just kind of pushes down into the arm a little bit. So, but it's quite a gradual gradient, so I think I might be all right. And that is, it's a yarn from Moonlight Yarns, but I don't think they're trading anymore. I did try and find them on Etsy and Google them, etc. That's not going to focus. But yeah, I couldn't really find them anywhere. But it's a sock weight yarn, 20% nylon, 75% merino, and a 5% little sparkle. So there's a little sparkle in there as well, which I think will look quite snazzy. And the cream on this is just literally an undyed merino yarn. I think it's an 80% merino, 20% nylon. So yeah, a superwash, but in just an undyed. So I really like that. It's very oversized. I think there's about a 10 centimeter negative ease on it. 10 centimeter, 10 inches negative ease on it. So it'll be really baggy and perfect, I think, as a throw on for the summer. So ticking away on that, but it's on a 2.75mm needle. which means that, yeah, it's taking a little bit of time, but that's okay. It's nice to have that stocking stitch project for sitting in front of the TV. Yeah, so I'm enjoying that one. Slightly tense, as I say, about the sleeves, but hopefully the knitting gods will be with me and it won't look too bad, or I'll just have to put my hands behind my back, something like that. You know, something easy fix, I say. So moving on to my blanket. Now, last episode, as I say, it was a confessional about all the things that I had started and not completed. But it has spurred me on, and a few of you sent me really lovely messages saying, oh, I'm going to get on with my blanket, etc, etc. You've persuaded me to kind of crack on with my blankets too, so I'm happy about that. And look, I've had the same effect on myself. So this is the Circles in the Snow pattern. There are lots of different versions of this on Ravelry, and I honestly can't remember which one I looked at. I kind of looked at the design and then thought, oh yeah, I'll just fudge that together, which is exactly what I've done. So I haven't followed a pattern other than what is in my head, really. So this is what I've managed to create so far, and I am very, very pleased. Some of the squares are slightly oversized. You know, this one is slightly bigger, I think, but once it gets put into a blanket in general, you won't really know. It's only going to be thrown over the back of a chair or wrapped around you when you're sat outside. So yeah, these are all little leftover sock bits in the middle. Some of them leftover ones, and some of them, as I say, the little 10-gram opal sock balls that they did a little while ago. So I had a few of those in my stash, and then just a solid grey to turn them into squares and then join them together. And joining them together, I didn't want a ridge in the middle. Can you see? So it's got a little a gully, a little indent in the middle. So I put the wrong sides together on a 3.25 crochet hook, wrong sides together, and then did the loop that was facing me and the loop that was furthest away. So the loop that was closest to me on this side and the loop that was furthest away, just joined those two together with a double crochet or a single crochet US. So it creates that nice little dent. I quite like that. So you can kind of see the ridge of the front leg that's left here. And it creates a nice little ridge rather than a standing up seam, you know what I mean. So I've got quite a few circles left that I haven't yet turned into squares. So I think over this weekend, we've got a bank holiday weekend this weekend. Monday is a bank holiday, so there's no work, and then I work in university, and the university has given us the Tuesday off as well, which is really, really nice. So I've got 4 quiet-ish days. I'm still responding to students, and we've got some hand-in dates and things over the weekend, so I'll keep an eye on those, but I'm not actually working. So that's nice. I hopefully will have some time to do some squares, and I've got some other plans for the weekend, which I shall tell you about in a moment. So yes, I am very happy to get that started, and maybe, who knows, maybe by the autumn I will have one blanket off the hooks. We shall see. So yes, 3.25. Oh, I forgot to say what I'm wearing. So this is the Elise Shawl. It's a crochet shawl, a 1-ball shawl by Evan Plavinsky. I'll pop it down here. I did have a look before I came on, and now I can't remember. I think it was something like that. Anyway, yes, a really, really simple crochet shawl. Had this for ages and ages, and yeah, it's very coordinated with my trousers today. Look at me. It looks like I've thought about it. I can assure you I haven't. But it's a nice, I think it was out of a Noro Silk Garden sock. So it's very, very light, lovely for these slightly summery, muggy days. And yeah, it was a 1 skein, less than 100 grams, I'm pretty sure. But it's a really nice, light little wear, especially for this time of year for us over here. Yes, on to acquisitions. So as you saw at the beginning, I have bought some gorgeous, gorgeous Fru Valborg yarn. That's not how you say it, I know that, but I'm not going to attempt. Yes, and I am a big fan of her and her husband Robert's podcast. It's fantastic. I've watched it for ages. They are such fun people, and I was lucky enough last year to meet them briefly at EYF. So when I was at EYF, I bought from the Stephen and Penelope stall. So they have some of the yarn is sold out of the Stephen and Penelope shop in Amsterdam. So I bought this glorious skein. I have another skein similar to this, a little bit lighter, but I've used that one already. But look at that, look at the golds in there, the blues. It is so pretty. Oh, look at this dark green. Oh, very nice. And it's a real high twist. So this is a merino swirl. It's called Borderline, and it is 80% merino superwash, 20% nylon, 365 meters. Now I think that I am going to do another Zweig. I did a Zweig ages and ages ago by Calon Hunter, and I absolutely love it. I wear it loads and it is looking a little bit bedraggled. So I'm thinking it's got a lovely sort of lacy yoke to it. Sort of colour work, mostly lacy yoke, and it makes a great use of a solid section of yarn. And I did it in a slightly speckled version before, and that was really lovely. So I think that would be very beautiful as a yoke. But I think I'll probably dye up the rest to go with it, and I don't really know what colour to choose. I think gold might be a bit too bright for it. Possibly a really dark green like this, taking some of that colour. This is where I need your help, really. Something that is subtle enough for this to stand out. That's what I want ideally. So I want this to be the main feature. Or maybe a light green, maybe like a little sort of mustardy wasabi green. I don't know. Let me know. What do you think? So that's my first question. This wasn't an acquisition, obviously this was last year, but this is what has come through recently from Fru Valborg. I ordered this with Carol. We buddied up and saved some postage and packing, and look at these glories. So this arrived yesterday. Oh, they're just beautiful. This one is Halo Sock. Look at that. And again, not sponsored, just a massive fan. This is so soft, it's unbelievable. 70% alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. Hand wash, obviously. But these colours are just lovely, so subtle. I can't tell you how soft it is. It's gorgeous. This is in the Canyon shade, and it says dyed by hand with love for every skein, and I absolutely believe that. So I'm thinking I might do a sock from the 52 weeks of socks in that, but it just feels so soft. It feels almost a shame to put on your feet, really. But it is lovely colours. That is glorious. And then this one, I love the name of this one. This is called Surf and Turf. And again, I'm definitely in my teal phase. Wouldn't you agree? So this sort of teal and slight, again, wasabi green, darker leaf greens, and some glorious speckles in there as well. Yeah, that is very beautiful. So again, I don't know, this is a merino sock, 75% merino, 25% nylon, 425 meters to 100 grams. But this, yeah, I'm wondering whether, a little cowl maybe, that might be nice in that. Just a little one skein one. A little shawlette maybe. Answers on a postcard, please. Not sure what to do with those. You know, you see those beautiful colours and you think, I just have to have them. I don't care what happens with them, but I have to have them. And then with my order, I ordered a couple of bits and bobs. Of course, how can you not? I got myself a fabulous Fru Valborg pin and a gauge square. Oh look, there's me there. This is really handy. I've been wanting one of these for a while because I do my sweaters and I block them, blah, 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 and then I kind of chuck them away. So this, I think, will make me do my gauge square so that I can keep my notes. I'm pretty good about keeping my knitting notes for my projects, but very often I forget to do my after blocked gauge, add my after block gauge into my notes, so that I know if I'm using that yarn again, using the needle size again, I've got a good idea of what I will get as I work through a project. So yes, very happy with those bits and bobs. A bit of a luxury purchase, a bit of a treat, but ooh, that's the problem now though, isn't it? You're busy doing these projects, but in the back of your head, project planning, what's going to be next? And on that idea of what's going to be next, I don't quite know what happened to me last week. Let me take a slurp and I'll tell you all about it. So, I am a recent spinner, a novice spinner, very much a novice spinner. And Wonderwool Wales was on a couple of weeks ago, and John Arbon Textiles, they always have a stall there, and it's always fabulous. It's all their knit by numbers range, beautiful yarns, beautiful colours. They do a fantastic sock range, and they do lots and lots of these massive tubs of fibre. Now, up to this point, I've never been really interested in the massive tubs of fibre because I haven't spun, so I had no use for it. So I was so looking forward to going this year, having a new skill under my belt that I could rummage in these tubs of fibre because the colours they produce are just glorious. But of course it wasn't on, understandably, but still sad in my heart. So I had a little look at their website and then made some purchases. So I'll just run you through them. It's not a great deal, but they're interesting colours and interesting vibes. So this is Yarnadelic Baddie Bar, is that what it says? I don't even remember what it was called when I ordered it. Come on, there we go. That's the John Arbon Textiles logo. Yes, so look at this. Isn't that pretty? It's got, again, golds and blues. It's almost like the Northern Lights, isn't it? Those sort of wispy blues and golds. So I've got 200 grams of that. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Who knows? And then I was drawn to Viola, which is a blackcurrant colour. Now I'm currently doing a performing Shakespeare module with my students, so Viola, the character Viola, kind of jumped out at me. And look at that. Deep, deep cherry reds. I think it's a little bit more blackcurranty where I'm sitting. But blacks and reds, I've got 100 grams of that. It hasn't got the fibre content, unfortunately, on the, it's very windy in this house. Hello? I haven't got the fibre content on that at the moment, but it's, there's definitely some merino in there. And the reds and blacks are just lovely. No idea with that one, anyway. But this is the biggest. Really? I don't know. So look at this beast. So here I have got 500 grams of Yarnadelic Black Gold of the Sun. Let me just squish them out for you. Now, isn't that just beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. Really, really vibrant greens in there. Some purpley tones. Not a purpley person, but okay, don't know quite what pandemic has done to me, really. And so again, some kind of blues and greens in there. So this, as big as my head, is a sweater quantity of fibre. So I think that just goes to show how confident I feel, otherwise known as delusional. Yeah. So for my 60th birthday, I might be wearing this. Let's see when I get to 60 and you all come to my party, I will be wearing that sweater that I've spun myself. Like that's ever going to happen. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, last week I was very confident that was going to happen. Today not so much, but I am hoping that over the bank holiday weekend I will get a little bit of time for spinning. So maybe when I get to that big bag of fibre I will be a little bit better, and hopefully won't make a complete hash of it, and then we'll end up chucking it all away and it'll just be turned into a really scrappy hat or something. We shall see. So yes, those are my acquisitions. Quite a few there really. Everything obviously takes a little bit longer to come through, so I didn't tell you about them until they've arrived because I wasn't sure when they were going to arrive, but they've all kind of arrived at the same time, so that is nice for me. Nice for me to kind of look at things and go, ooh, what next? But not very good for the projects. Finish these. Finish here before I come to here. That is my plan. Whether I stick to that or not is another thing entirely. But yes, those really are all my yarn adventures this week. I hope you guys are all keeping well. That's sort of the yarny content done and dusted. So if you are leaving us here, thank you so much. I hopefully will see you again next week. Do join me, same time, same place. But if you are hanging around, what has been going on this week? Again, not very much really. We are still in the lockdown. We've got 2 more weeks in Wales before we decide what's happening next. Yeah, so working from home. We're all working from home. My husband works from home a lot anyway. My kids are here handling their last sort of modules of their second year in their unis, getting those finished, so I think they'll have a big weight off their shoulders by next week. It's really difficult, isn't it, to keep motivated, I think, when you haven't got that schedule that you would ordinarily have in university, and you haven't got tutors going, come on, and you're not kind of with your friends, etc. And yeah, I can sort of relate to that as well, really, not having your friends around. I'm really missing my yarn gang, as I'm sure you are all the same. We've had a few knit chats, knit nights over Zoom, but it's not the same. I am desperate to grab a coffee and a cake with that gang and just catch up. It's been a really tricky time for everybody. Everybody is making their way, doing their thing, trying to keep sane and sensible, but I think, yes, things are getting a bit tricky now. Thankfully, infection rates and death rates are starting to fall, not by a great deal, but they are starting to fall, and I hope the same is with you guys, wherever you are, that things are getting back to a sense of normality, that we can find our way out of this, hopefully. But yeah, it's going to be a long, hard slog, I think, and it's great actually that we can kind of keep in touch in this way. I've watched loads and loads of different podcasts over the last few weeks, and it's been wonderful to see all these different things are happening all the way around the globe, and it's lucky that we have this opportunity to kind of connect, I think. And to keep focused and sane. I know that doing the podcasts and watching podcasts absolutely keeps me connected with the rest of the world, I think. And on that note, I have spoken at you for ages now, so I am going to drool over my new purchases, crack on with my works in progress, and I will catch up with you all next week. Keep well, keep safe. Diolch pawb, thanks for coming along, and thanks to all those that are keeping us going, and always a big thank you to any NHS workers out there. Thanks, take care guys, hwyl fawr, bye.